FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I want to know where the kind of most opportunity there was for a lawyer trying to kind of set the frame for what those boundaries are going to be when the judges consider a case. For example, in affirmative action, on the one hand, there was the Constitution is colorblind. On the other hand, it was, it's colorblind, but you can make some exceptions sometimes. And that's the framework. Why wouldn't someone argue, say, it's 14th Amendment applies, it's equal protection under law, but it's currently not protecting people equally. So just keeping that first frame, but kind of stepping outside of this dichotomy, this here or there kind of argument.
You want to know, where does this stuff come from?
Where does it come from?
Where does it come from? And I can give you three kinds of answers. I think if I want to be very general, I'll say it comes in respect to the Constitution from the same kinds of things that legal cases have always come from and always will come from. A case comes up before a judge, and the judge tries to find an answer in the law. And where judges look is they look, what does it say? That's the first thing, the text. What does it say? And the second thing they'll look to is, what's the history of that text? And I think these things were true, by the way, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, just as they are now. Where did that come from, those words? What are they driving at? Somebody put them in for a reason. And then they'll look at the tradition. What's the tradition that's grown up around those words? What have they come to mean in the law and in life? And then they'll look to precedents. What do the precedents tell us? And then they'll look to the values or the purposes that underlie this phrase. What's this really about? Freedom of expression is about expression. It's not about privacy. Fourth Amendment's privacy, all right? But there's a value that underlies those words as they appear in this particular document. And they'll look to consequences. And the consequences will be not any old ones in the world, but if it's First Amendment, consequences about speech. Maybe if it's Fourth Amendment, consequences about privacy. So I say all of us as judges and lawyers, and we want to get into this, you have the text, you have the history, you have the tradition, you have the precedent, you have the values or purposes, and you have the consequences. Now, over time, those factors, with any given document and with any given text, there's so much water that's run over the dam or under the bridge or wherever that water runs, that we don't come into this in a vacuum. And that's the second thing I want to tell you. A very wise judge, in my opinion, Trias Mange, who is from Puerto Rico, who I think was a great judge, told me a long time, and he really knew continental law, and he knew a common law, and he really knew it from about 4 different traditions. And he said that he sometimes thinks of himself, he says it's like a sculptor. He says when you're working with the law, you're working with like a piece of granite. But a sculptor who approaches that granite knows where it has some give. And he knows where, if he does it carefully, he can get it to move a little bit this way or a little bit that way. And that's the art of it. And that's what's happening in individual cases, tough ones. And then the other thing I thought of was going back to what you say. You say, well, you say just, humility, you got to do whatever the legislature says. Oh, but you're turning them over sometime. Oh, well. So I can just tell you one person who everyone admires for a reason related to what you say. And that's Holmes. And Brandeis, too. In this respect, both Holmes and Brandeis believed enormously in the democratic process. Enormously. And the judges were not to go in and disrupt what that democratic institution, the legislature, had done. But, there comes a point. Their back is up. You're going too far. Abrams, get low. The cases where there's an effort to infringe freedom of speech too far, too much, clear and present. Well, what? And suddenly you see Holmes and or Brandeis, and they say, no, our back is up, and we just can't help it, says Holmes. Can't help it. And that is what I think is the art in that area, and there is no magic formula. I wish I could give one. And maybe sometime you or others might from time to time say, well, he was right here, he was wrong there. That's your business, and just fine.